Hello all and welcome to Astro Wheel of Fortune. My name is Vlada and I read tarot. And this is the reading that I've done before. It's a reading on making a decision. So it's a decision making spread between two options. We're going to be looking at option A and option B. You decide what is going to be option A and what is going to be option B. You decide, you set that intention for yourself. Before you watch the reading, decide for yourself, this is going to be my option A and this is going to be my option B. And it's basically a spread to help you make a decision on maybe which option is best to go with. But if I'm very honest, I will say I've done a lot of these decision making spreads for my personal readings that I do for my clients and also for content. And most of the time, there's not really a good and a bad option. Most of the time you have pros and cons within both options. And the most important thing is that we decide it all, is that we make the decision at all. And that's just something that I want to highlight before we even get into this reading. So the way that I'm going to be doing this reading, I'm going to be shuffling live on camera. I'm going to be using the tarot deck that I have here. We're going to be looking at option A and option B, and you get to decide. As I said, you decide what's option A and what's option B beforehand. We will look into how you are viewing the options and then looking into what is the likelihood of the actuality or the reality of the options. I will not be telling you what decision to make. It's completely up to you once you assess the reading and assess the options. And also, please be careful what you're using this reading for. Make sure that you are using your own intuition first and foremost, that you are not completely over relying on the reading. It's really important that you're still listening to your own intuitive whispers, or your own gut feeling in order to make this decision. So this is meant to be a tool. It's not meant to be a solution, if that makes sense. So I'm going to leave it here, and you can pause the video if you like, if you want to muse over these crystals for a little while. So we've got the red carnelian for group number 1, rose quartz for group number 2, we've got the black onyx for group number 3, and the citrine for group number 4. So pause the video now if you want to have a bit more time to pick these groups, and I'm going to get started with group number 1. So group number 1, let's get into your reading. So red carnelian, let's look at your options. So group number 1, please decide now what is going to be option A and what is going to be option B for you, and we'll get into the spread. So first and foremost, I want to look at your attitude towards option A and B. So let's start with option A. What is group 1's attitude to option A? Current attitude towards option A. 3 of Pentacles in reverse. You might feel like option A is an option where it'll be hard to work with other people if other people are involved. You may feel like it will be difficult to connect with other people, to understand other people that might be involved within this connection or this job or this situation, whatever it is. You feel like there's a lack of teamwork, or like whoever is involved in this option A will not want to work with you, will not want to compromise with you, will not want to meet you halfway. There's that kind of feeling that I'm getting. If it's not necessarily that you worry that there's going to be no compromise, you may feel like there will be a clash of personalities or something like that. Like it'll be hard to navigate this situation in terms of teamwork with option A. But it's not overly devastating attitude. I think you're not necessarily completely defeated with option A, but it is a worry of yours. There's like a little feeling of What if we won't be able to find solutions to our problems? What if I struggle with the people that are involved with option A? What if the teamwork is not great with option A? That's your attitude towards this option A. So let's look at your attitude towards option B. So option B is you're kind of feeling with option B, Four of Cups in reverse, you feel like you need to take the opportunity with option B. You're not really sure if option B will pay off, but you feel like there's something there. It's almost like, if I don't take this now, I don't know if this opportunity will present itself again to me. So there's maybe there's a time sensitive energy towards option B. Maybe you feel like option B is kind of like once in a lifetime opportunity. You may feel like option B is something that could really get you out of a rut, or a feeling of apathy, a feeling of, I'm kind of sick and fed up. So you feel like option B is something that you need to grab or completely release, because this opportunity will not come again. There's that kind of feeling that I'm getting here. But at the same time, there's also a feeling of being unsure. There's also a feeling of like, is it just the way I'm perceiving it, or is it the real reality? Is it actually the way things are, or am I just thinking, there's almost this feeling is like, is it too good to be true potentially? Are my feelings a little bit skewed on this option B? I'm not really sure. I do feel like you are quite confused about your own perception of the two options. Like, I am getting that kind of energy here. So that's why you're maybe exploring this reading, because I do feel like there's a sense of confusion around both of these options. So I want to look at option A and see what is the actual energy around option A. Okay, we've got the Queen of Cups in reverse. I do feel like you're not emotionally invested in option A. I feel like it's very likely that option A will have an element of what you're expecting it to have, to be honest. In terms of a lack of teamwork, a lack of compromise. Option A does feel like a difficult option to me. It feels like an option where it's kind of like maybe you sacrificed, if you've already explored option A before, if you're aware of option A as an option that you've already integrated yourself into before, I definitely feel like it's kind of, if it's a job that you've done before, if it's a career you've done before, if it's a thing that you've done before and you have some sort of an idea of option A, it does feel like your guides are saying, yes, nothing has changed. Like, there is that kind of feeling that I'm picking up on. If it's a person that you've dealt with before, your guides are saying, no, nothing has changed. You are correct in the way that you are. Your intuition is correct on option A in many ways. That's what I'm getting here. I feel like you intuitively know what to expect with option A, and especially the element of lack of diplomacy, a lack of compromise, a lack of middle ground. Yes, you are correct on that. And I feel like that's something that your guides are wanting you to be very aware of. I mean, they're showing me the 10 of Swords, which indicates an ending is needed. Maybe you need to cut off option A, kind of like indefinitely. It's like option A may be an option that you just need to leave behind, for better or for worse. It's like that kind of feeling of like, I need to move on from this option. That is definitely something that I'm picking up on. And it feels very definitive, which is, again, like I said at the start of this reading, is very rare. Usually you get like pros and cons in the situation. But for you specifically, group 1, I feel like option A does feel like it maybe has already emotionally exhausted you if you have been connected to it before. Or it will emotionally exhaust you if you do decide to pick it, because as you are intuitively correctly picking up, there is a lack of compromise, there is a lack of teamwork. Maybe it could even be that you're, if this is a job or something like that, because Three of Pentacles to me makes me think of like career or a job. It's like you have an intuitive feeling like maybe this job or wherever this job is doesn't have the best work culture, doesn't have the best incentives for, the employees that are involved. But again, this is only one example. Please apply this to whatever you're looking at. But I do feel like your feelings about option A are correct. Now let's look at option B. Okay, option B, the opportunity that you are getting, I feel like you are right. You are probably very intuitive, group one, first of all, because I am getting this feeling like you are picking up on correct energies here, but maybe you're just struggling to distinguish further, get sharper with your intuition around this. I am seeing that whatever this option B is, there's a lot of people that would compete for this option, that would love to take on this option, that would would feel like they have to fight for this option almost. And so yes, I do feel like option B is a really good opportunity for you. I feel like option B is something that you deserve as well in some sort of way, because Five of Wands can talk about beating out competition. And we've also got the Ace of Cups. Yeah, option B feels like a really good opportunity. It's a good way for a new start, especially an emotional start. And especially looking at option A and seeing the Queen of Cups in reverse, which to me indicates emotional exhaustion a lot of the time, especially when it comes up next to Ten of Swords. Option B seems like the opposite. It's like an invigorating within your emotional space. It feels like some sort of it's like your cup is being filled again with option B. Your option B can refill your energy, refill your cup. Option B can one thing I will say, option B is not an option that is just you pick this option and you don't have to do any more work on it, or you don't need to apply any sort of effort into it. Effort will be needed, but it's going to be the sort of effort that you're going to enjoy, especially with the Five of Wands. I'm sensing like a sense of competition, but it's like a pleasant sense of competition. It's a way in which you enjoy being competitive. You enjoy having competitors. Friendly competition is even coming through with the Ace of Cups, because the Ace of Cups can indicate any sort of love. It's not just love that is romantic, it's also like camaraderie, friendship, the kind of love that you share with people in a very platonic way as well as romantic. So there is a feeling with the Five of Wands and the Ace of Cups that there's some like a friendly competition seems to be coming up, like a friendly competitive energy. If this is like a person that you're wondering about, I feel like this is someone who's competitive, but they're not competitive in a way that is destructive or nasty. They're competitive in this like very friendly, loving kind of way. So I feel like option A is once in a lifetime almost opportunity but I also don't want you to think that if you don't pick option B, and if you go with maybe something that's not option A or option B, that option B is something that you need to feel regretful over, like, oh, I didn't go for it, and I'm very disappointed. There's no need to feel disappointed about it, but I do feel like you are right. There's something about this energy that if you do go for option B, you will be reinvigorated in your emotional energy. You will feel the sense of friendly competition. There might even be exciting back and forth that happens. I'm kind of getting people being, because it's funny, because here's a lack of teamwork that we're observing with option A, lack of teamwork, a lack of compromise. And while option B is also a lack of compromise, but it's not a lack of compromise that is based in, I'm just not going to give you compromise just out of spite. It feels more like you need to convince me for me to compromise with you. You need to convince me. And there is friction with option B. I do sense that you will have to work for option B. Even when you choose it, even when you pick it, there's something that like there's a need to convince, there's a need to compete, there's a need to fight for option B. But I don't want you to get like worried about this feeling of fighting or anything like that, because it's not a sense of you fighting for something in a scare from a place of fear or from a place of anxiety. It's like competition from a place of fun and enjoyment. It's like the kind of competition that you enjoy and you feel comfortable in. So this is very nice energy with option B, if I'm honest. Now let's look at the astrology cards around option A. Let's pull some astrology cards for option A. We've got Pisces. So Pisces season could show you something about, I mean, we're in Pisces season. Actually, Pisces season has just passed. Sorry. So we've moved on from Pisces season. So maybe Pisces season has showed you something about this specific option A. Maybe Pisces season made you aware of something around option A. Maybe you had some deep realizations around option A. Pisces season could have really opened up your eyes to why option A is not for you or is for you. But I'm more so feeling towards why it's not for you. Also, maybe someone here is a Pisces, whoever is involved with option A. But there is a feeling of, because Pisces energy is all about, and Pisces season in itself can be about wrapping things up and finishing things up, surrendering. I mean, we've got the South Node, which makes me feel like we've got South Node, and South Node is about things that we're destined to release, things that we're maybe very comfortable in, and things that we are very experienced in, but maybe it's time to let them go, because sometimes at a certain point, no matter how experienced or connected you are to something, no matter how comfortable you are in something, it's time to move on to new horizons, if that makes sense. And with the Chiron, it says hurt and heal, and Chiron energy is very much about heal through what you hurt through, heal through the difficult experiences in your life, or like difficult experiences in your life making you stronger. The one thing that I'm picking up on is that especially if you have dealt with option A before, this has not been a waste of your time. And even if you were to go for option A, if you've never dealt with it before, it's not a waste of your time. It's definitely not an option that you're doing for no reason, for example. You know, option A has its pluses from the point of view that if you never experienced option A, you wouldn't have known that this is not something that you want in your life. And also you would have never known that, or you would have never collected the knowledge or the wisdom that came with experiencing option A. So while it wouldn't be the easiest option to go through, it has a lot of wisdom, because Pisces also indicates a certain level of spiritual wisdom. So it's not necessarily a bad thing or a bad option if you look at it from a big picture point of view, but it's definitely one that is difficult and maybe doesn't have a lot of compromise, maybe is very confusing at times even. And at the end of the day, this option A, it's not something that's meant to last. Option A, if you do go for option A, it's something that's meant to have its ending. It's something that's meant to have its conclusion, if that makes sense. So that's what we have for option A from astrology standpoint. So let's have a look at option B from the astrological standpoint. We've got Grand Trine blessings. Yeah, I feel like option B is something that has the potential to bring you a lot of blessings, a lot of ease. It's like ease through difficulty. It's you know, when something is difficult, like maybe a problem you're trying to solve or a challenge that you're working on, but it's difficult in an enjoyable way. Like that's the way that option B feels to me. It's not going to be an easy option to go with, but you're going to enjoy the difficulty. It's kind of like if you were playing a video game and there was a really difficult level that you were trying to move through, but you didn't mind that it was difficult because it was so enjoyable to problem solve. It was so fun to do it. It could be very intellectually stimulating to you with Mercury being here. You could learn a lot through option B. I also feel like maybe you're someone who enjoys a lot of intellectual connection with whatever you are pursuing, whatever these options are. I feel like option B can really stimulate you, not only emotionally, but also mentally, intellectually. So, I also feel like you have the potential to improve your communication skills with option B by a mile. Like there's a very strong improvement. But again, it's not going to come without any work. It's going to come with a certain persistence when it comes to this. It's like you will have to persist. You will have to communicate. You will have to challenge yourself to be a better person or to be a more evolved version of yourself in order to take on option B. And if you feel like you're not ready for that, that is something I almost feel if you feel like you're not ready for either of the options, you're better off waiting for something else to come along, something that maybe matches your energy a bit more. But for a lot of you, it does feel like option B does match your energy perfectly. You will have to be challenged in some sort of way, but it's going to be an enjoyable kind of challenge. Now with option B, I think I said option A, but it's option B. With option A, I do feel like it's not a waste of your time to do option A because you will learn profound lessons that could be very difficult to learn or difficult to go through, but it'll be knowledge that will last you all your life. It'll be an invaluable knowledge that a lot of people may not have because again, it depends from what point of view. If you don't want any more difficult lessons, and if you're really just like, I don't want any more difficult lessons, I don't want a situation where, yes, I take away these like amazing lessons and I learn a lot, but I'm exhausted emotionally or physically, whatever way, I don't want that anymore. Option A is not going to be for you. I would go with option B because it's like, while there's a lot of lessons involved with option B, they're not necessarily exhausting. There's difficulty to them, there's challenge to them, but it's not in this like exhausting kind of manner or way. But if you feel like you would like something easier again, your guides are almost indicating to me you would be better off waiting for something completely different to come along. But I feel like the option B does excite you, and I feel like that's why your guides are saying it excites you. There's clearly something there, there's blessings there, there's intellectual excitement, there's intellectual challenge. You may, I don't know, you may need to be like, you may need to like, there's something about option B where you may need to sharpen your debating skills and how well you can debate and how well you can respect the other debater or like whoever is arguing with you. But very interesting option here. This option is like more so something you've done before. You probably learned a version of this lesson before with option A. But it is something that has its wisdom. It's not going to be a waste of your time to go with option A. But I feel like option B would be more exciting for you, if that makes sense. And less exhausting, less energy draining, if that makes sense. In fact, it would fill your cup. So that's what I have for you, group number 1. I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did like this reading, do like, subscribe, and comment, especially with your feedback, especially if you want to share what your options are, you know, whatever you feel like sharing. Don't feel like you have to share anything. Also, if you enjoy these readings, and especially because my content will be changing slightly to tarot connected with creativity and divination, with drawing, me drawing a little bit more on this channel. If you want to get more of the traditional tarot readings by me, make sure you check out my Patreon. It's in the description box below if you want to join. But yeah, Thank you for hanging out with me, and I'm going to move on to my next group. So the next group is our rose quartz group number 2. So let's get into it. Group number 2, decision making spread. Let's get into it. We're going to start with option A and your attitude towards your option A. What is the attitude that you have towards option A for you? You've got the Queen of Cups. Your attitude towards option A is very positive. You feel emotionally connected to option A. You feel like option A makes you feel emotionally, I'm getting emotionally neutral and content. There's no like high emotions. There's no extreme emotions when it comes to option A, but you feel content. You feel a certain level of warmth. You feel a certain level of just feeling neutral, but like in a pleasant way. Neutral, almost neutral joy is coming through for some reason, like not hyperactive joy, but like very neutral, content energy. So option A makes you pleased in some sort of way, and it makes you feel like you are happy emotionally around option A. Now we've got option B. We've got 3 cards. Do I want to take them? Yeah, I'm going to take them. But I'm going to take them as so I feel like something here with option B. I'm going to take these as the reality cards. That's what my intuition is telling me to take them as. So I'll reveal them later. But for some reason, these cards have popped out already. So option B... Well, you feel like option B will help you break down some self-limiting beliefs. You feel like option B is going to help you release some sort of anxieties, help you release some sort of preconceived notions that don't serve you anymore. And while I think you are aware that option A is also good for that, maybe option B will be more of a challenge and more of a... may help you on a different level, on a more significant level, for example. Whereas option A is quite comfortable, emotionally connected. Option B, you have this perception that option B will challenge you a little bit more, will push you to break down self-limiting beliefs that maybe you didn't even know you had before. Whereas with option A, it's like option A will not push you too far, will not try, but maybe that's what you need. Again, like we need to keep in mind, like sometimes we don't need to be progressing constantly. Self-healing and self-development can become a trap. It can become an addiction. So maybe if you feel like you've been in a self-development loop, and you've been, continuing the self-development, breaking down, generational cycles and curses. If you've been working on your own mental health consistently, maybe you do feel like you're ready for something just relaxing and chilled out, where you don't have to feel pushed to improve and do better constantly. So, but both options to me are standing out as you are considering them on quite a high level. Both options to you, you're like, both of these options are good. I feel like that's your attitude to both options. So let's look at option A. Yeah, look at that. Option A. Emotional fulfillment, gratitude. You feel like you would be very grateful. But it's the reality as well. It's like your option A here would make you feel very grateful, would make you feel emotionally satisfied, would make you feel like your emotional needs are met. Wow. I have to say, option A is a great option. Right off the bat, we've got the 9 of Cups and the Empress for the reality of it, and you also feel good about it. Option A could bring in a lot of wish fulfillment. Option A could definitely bring a lot of really prosperous energy, allow you to be more creative, allow you to be more expressive, allow you to feel more comfortable in your own skin. A lot of self-care is represented with option A. Option A is very supportive. There's something very abundant about option A. It is an option that will not challenge you a lot, but maybe that's exactly what you need. Option A feels like where you can sit back, surrender, really lean into the energy of surrendering, receiving, and being appreciated without needing to do too much work. without needing to crack down on your self-limiting beliefs constantly, without needing to assess yourself constantly. And I feel like for a lot of you, you really crave this option A. I feel like for a lot of you, while you're someone who probably likes self-development, likes to focus on things like healing and, you know, being a better person, and how can I push myself to be a better person again and again and again, you are someone who's ready to now relax and enjoy the fruits of your labor that you have done already. And yeah, I have to say, option A is a great option. I am struggling to see any flaws with it. To be honest, it's something that I feel a lot of you crave. And, you know, going forward with option A will not disappoint you. Like, that's the energy that I'm getting. You're not going to be disappointed. Option A is something that will make you feel fulfilled, connected, will make you feel like you are on the right path emotionally, specifically. The one thing that I will say, it's not, if this is pertaining to career, option A, well, it will be emotionally fulfilling and will make you feel like your wish fulfillment is being granted, or like your wishes are coming true. It may not be super ambitious option to take. You know, it may not feel like you are being super ambitious or you're pushing yourself to the furthest level possible when it comes to your career, but sometimes that's exactly what we need. Sometimes we don't need to be pushing ourselves to the limit when it comes to our ambitions and our career. And especially if you feel like you need rest, especially if you feel like you need, you know, you're craving people to appreciate you rather than you looking at appreciating other people. And not that it's coming from a selfish point of view. I feel like it's just something you're ready for. If you feel like you want, more of a relaxed energy around you, emotionally, physically, if you feel like you want to pamper yourself, option A is better than option, well, we'll see at option B, but it's definitely highlighted as a very kind of a self-indulgent option, but in a good way. It's like indulging in yourself because you deserve it. You've done the hard work. You've done the self-work, the self-development, I also feel like group A, or option A, will be the option where you will get to be more creative and more self-expressive. So if you feel like you're craving that, that's definitely the option to go. And I also feel like whatever you're expecting, it's going to be even better with option A, which is great. Now let's look at option B. Okay, option B. Okay, option B, while it is something that will challenge your self-limiting beliefs, especially when it comes to money, or anything financial, anything materialistic, anything physical, it's not a bad option. That's the first thing that I want to say. But it is an option where you may need to give more. And one thing your guides are asking you to think about and ask yourself, because option A is obviously an option where you don't have to give as much and you're more so in the receiving energy. Are you even able to give more when it comes to option B? Is that something that is a possibility for you? Is that something that you feel you are equipped to do right now? Are you equipped to be giving and giving and giving and giving? Because with option B, you may bring yourself into the energy of overgiving in general. And it's not that you wouldn't receive back, because the Two of Pentacles does indicate some sort of like back and forth and some sort of reciprocity. It's not as much as you will receive with option A. But I want to highlight that option B is not a bad option. I'm getting really good energy from option B, but do you maybe need option A more than you need option B right now? Another thing that I'm picking up from this option with option B is that if you choose option A, this option B will still be available to you in some form or another. Now, it may not be exactly the way that you expect it to be available to you, but this option B may be available to you in the future with the Two of Pentacles. That once you have explored option A enough and you've enjoyed option A enough, option B is there for you to explore in the future. If you chose to move on from option A in the future, moving on to option B, would not be as hard as you think It would be. Option B does not disappear with you picking option A. That's the kind of energy that I'm picking up on with this specific group. Whereas if you pick option B, it's not going to be as easy for you to pick option A in the future, if that makes sense. I feel like, especially for those of you that this is pertaining to career, especially for those of you that this is about work, material life, career, I feel like that's especially a resonant message that's coming through. Picking option A right now still allows you to pick option B in the future, whereas if you pick option B right now, it's not guaranteed that option A will be there for you up for grabs, if that makes sense. I also feel like you may need to invest money into option B in some sort of way, maybe in an slightly unexpected way. It could be that option B requires more effort, more investment from you, whether it's physical or materialistic, financial investment. It's just, there's a need to think whether that's something that is a possibility for you right now, whether that's something that you see yourself having enough energy for. Whereas option A wants to just give to you. There's no expectation from you. There's no expectation for you to do something. The only expectation for you with option A is that you take care of yourself, that emotionally and physically, that you maximize your creativity, and that you are grateful for whatever option A grants you. That's the only expectations that are present with option A. And I'm getting a sense of warmth and relaxation with option A, whereas option B feels like more effort, more energy. And yes, it will help you break down your self-limiting beliefs. Yes, it will teach you a lot. But there could be a lot of juggling. There could be a lot of multitasking that could really take away from your energy. Now, if you wanted to pick option B, if you feel like you must pick option B, there's nothing wrong with that. And I feel like other good things will happen and appear from option B. I feel like option B is not a bad choice. I really want to stress that. I'm not seeing option B as a bad choice. But I do feel like option B will require more from you than option A will. And that's where there's a need to really assess whether you have more to give, because that's the one point that the guides keep hammering home with this option B. It's like, do you have more to give? Do you genuinely, honestly, if you were very honest with yourself, maybe there's a need to journal about it. If you were very, very honest with yourself, would you say that you have more to give? Or do you feel like you're ready to just receive and surrender and take a step back, a sit back, rather than be action-minded and to be giving and giving and giving? So that's just one thing that your guides are wanting you to just consider for yourself. It's not something that they're saying it's impossible, but there is a feeling of like, we want you to consider that. Let's look at the astrological cards now. Let's look at option A. Option A. Okay, well, first of all, we've got Taurus, which is, Taurus is one of the signs that is associated with Empress because it's ruled by Venus. So also could be indicating that Taurus season is a good time to pick this option, or maybe settling into this option is a good, it's good to connect to this option around Taurus season, or maybe make this decision before Taurus season. If you're watching this when I'm putting this out, I'm putting this out just at the beginning of Aries season. And also we had Saturn return come up here. So some of you could be going through your Saturn return, and maybe option A is something that will support your Saturn return. Or maybe you just finished your Saturn return. So maybe you're in your 30s now. Your early 30s, maybe you're in your early 30s and your Saturn return has just, kind of wrapped up, and there are certain gifts, because the way there is a sentiment in astrology that once you finish your Saturn return, you receive a gift. Once you go into your 30s, you know, you receive a gift because you've learned some major lessons and it's time for rewards now. So there is a feeling of reward with option A. I have to keep highlighting it. There's a feeling like you deserve option A. You really deserve option A. You shouldn't feel guilty about picking option A. Not that I think you would, but I feel like option A could be a really great, like, because Taurus energy likes to be pampered. Taurus energy likes to be appreciated, pampered, looked after. Taurus energy likes to have, you know, balanced rest. So I do feel like your guides are saying you deserve option A. You deserve to receive this rest. You deserve to receive this reward. Whatever this reward is, I'm feeling like your guides are really adamant about you deserving it. And we've got conjunction, a union, merging, and coming together. You could really come together with this option A. You could really come together. You could really merge with it. This option could really be a new lease of life for you, a new lease for creativity. Also, Taurus energy can be very creative in a very, it's more kind of like aesthetic way, very aesthetic creativity, appreciation for art, appreciation for the beauty of this world. I feel like a lot of you may need to connect with this Venus energy. So maybe you're craving to connect with Venus energy, Venusian themes. Maybe you want to connect with luxury. You want to connect with rest. You want to connect with rewards. You want to connect with beauty, whether it be artistic beauty, whether it be, you know, aesthetic beauty, whether it be beauty of, you know, your own beauty. Maybe you want to connect with these things right now. And I feel like option A will grant you this kind of energy. Now, let's move on to the astrological cards that pop out for option B. Let's see what option B has to say when it comes. So we've got first house, which is all about your individuality, your identity, and the whole statement of I am. So there is an energy of maybe really figuring out who you are on an individual level. But there's also a feeling that your guides are saying, because I'm looking at the merging energy here and I'm looking at the individualistic energy here, there is a little bit of a warning that your guides are giving. I wouldn't even call it a warning. It's kind of like a caution. It's like, be cautious not to become overly individualistic if you're connecting to option B, because option B will push you to really figure yourself out on an individual level and in an individual sense. But it's not always what we need. Like, you know, we do live in a very individualistic society. We do live in a society where individualism is very highlighted to us or is always praised to us. But sometimes the best thing we can do for ourselves is merge with someone else, is connect with someone else, and maybe be reliant on someone else. There is this feeling of like, maybe you feel worried that if you pick option A, you will have to rely on someone, but that's not always a bad thing. You know, so, of course, we shouldn't rely on people that we don't know very well or that we have bad intuitive feelings towards. But if you feel connected to someone and there's genuine evidence to back it up that merging with them would be beneficial to you, it's not a bad thing to connect with them. So I do feel like your guides are highlighting to me here. Yes, you could develop yourself as an individual a lot more with option B, but it does not mean that you are not able to develop yourself as an individual with option A. It may just not be as much. It may just not be to the same level. With the Pluto energy, there is big transformations that option B could bring into your life. But again, it's quite intensive. There's an intensive energy with option B. And it's not necessarily intensive in a bad way, but it is more work, more investment is needed, more application is needed. Whereas with option A, you get rest, you get rewards, you get to finally sigh, like kind of like a sigh of relief or a sigh of rest. Whereas with option B, more work will be required. And you need to base that on your own feelings. Like, do you feel like you are capable of that? Do you feel like you are happy to continue working more and putting more investment in? and putting more energy in? Or do you feel like, yes, I'm ready to relax, and yes, maybe I will not be as far along in some sort of like maybe career progression or in terms of my ambitions, but I will get rewards, I will get to relax, I will get to enjoy myself, I will get to get the rest that I've been craving. But I feel like it's really up to you, because I'm not seeing that either of these options are bad. The way that I'm seeing option A is just kind of like, yes, option B is a good option, and it could really teach you a lot about yourself, and it could progress you maybe further in your career in some sort of way, but at the cost of some rewards and relaxation and rest. It's not, I almost feel like you worry that if you pick option A, you will be seen as lazy. There's something that, like, I can't help but feel that kind of feeling. But in reality, it's not lazy to pick option A. And also, like, I don't believe in laziness, full stop. That's just not something that I believe in. I believe in people not being motivated for whatever reason. It's not bad to be lazy, in inverted commas, sometimes. It's not bad to be lazy sometimes. Being lazy is necessary sometimes. And I feel like that's something that your guides almost want you to embrace. And I feel like for some of you, maybe there's a need to journal around option A being the lazy option and option B being the hardworking option. Again, in inverted commas. This is not the reality. This is just maybe something that you're perceiving about these options. And figuring out why you view them that way. Because option A is so abundant. It's just not abundant in like a society confirmed or appropriate way. It's like society may not see option A as abundant, but when you live option A, when you explore option A, you will know it's abundant because you will feel it through your whole body. Like there's that kind of feeling with it. Whereas option B may be seen as abundant by society, may be seen as incredible and an amazing achievement by society, but you could be stuck in a place of lack with option B because you're missing out on significant rest, or you're missing out on significant indulgence that you need. So that's what I have for you for this specific reading, for this decision making. I hope this helped. I hope this resonated. If you have any feedback, if you have any comments about this specific reading, let me know if you feel comfortable sharing it. But I'm going to move on. We're going to move on to the next group. So we're moving on to group number 3, and that's the Black Onyx group. Let's see what is going on with your decision. What is going on with your 2 options? We're going to look at both of your options here. So let's look at option A and your attitude to option A first and foremost. Let's see, how are you viewing option A, group? Okay. Queen of Wands, you're excited about option A. It seems you're excited about it. You feel like you have the needed capabilities to take on option A. You feel like you're excited to take on option A. You feel like option A will make you feel even more confident in yourself, that you will learn how to be more of a leader. You will learn how to be more outgoing, maybe even. You're excited to explore option A. There's definitely that feeling of like, I'm excited to explore option A. Option A feels like an option that will build my confidence, build my leadership skills, build my social skills, and I'm excited to go for it. So that's really cool. Very exciting energy around option A. So let's look at option B and your attitude towards option B. So with option B, you might feel like you may worry that there will be, it's funny because it came out, this specific card came out for another group, so it's for the attitude part, so it's very interesting that that's coming up. So option B may feel like it is lacking camaraderie, lacking compromise, lacking discipline around diplomacy. You may feel like if you are definitely less excited about option B. You're definitely less excited about option B than you are about option A, but you feel like you still need to consider option B for some reason. You feel like you should still be considering option B. You feel like option B, although you don't feel like it has much goodness or greatness for you necessarily, should still be considered, and that maybe you're not being entirely fair to option B. But there is kind of like, but I don't think I would be receiving the necessary amount of compromise, or, I don't feel like I will be valued in some sort of way with option B, the way that I should be valued and the way that I feel like I'll be valued with option A. So let's look at the reality of option A, the objective reality of option A. Option A could help you release a lot of anxiety, maybe around whatever this situation is. Option A, I do feel like you're excited about option A, and you're also aware that option A will bring you a sense of relief when it comes to mental struggles, when it comes to worrying about something. For example, if you're worried about your career, you feel like if you pick option A, you'll have a lot less anxiety and a lot less worry about your career. You will feel a lot less turmoil when it comes to your career. Yeah, you feel like it'll be a very optimistic kind of energy, and I am feeling like that is true. That is confirmed here with these two cards. Now, the only thing is, Page of Wands is here, and you are expecting a Queen of Wands type of energy. You need to be aware that while option A is going to be great, it's going to be very positive, very optimistic. It's definitely going to be a beginning of something very exciting, very new. You need to be okay with making mistakes with option A, because mistakes will be made. Mistakes will be made with option A. You will not know everything to begin with. You will not have a perfect account of everything when it comes to option A. It will not be this perfect thing that you just slot in and everything goes, without a hitch. There will be mistakes made with option A, but those mistakes are necessary for you to grow and be better and better and better. Don't get upset and don't get like imposter syndrome if you pick option A and all of a sudden while it's exciting and while it's very positive, you feel maybe a little bit inexperienced all of a sudden, or you feel like you are not doing a good job all of a sudden. It's not that you're not doing a good job. It's that you are meant to be brought into this like more novice type of energy. Option A is a good option, especially if you're looking to create a new spark in your life. If you're looking for something new, if you're kind of like feel my life has been a bit stale lately. I feel like my life has been a bit stale and tired and not very invigorating and exciting lately. Option A is definitely a great option to take up to refresh something in your life. Maybe it's to do with career, maybe it's to do with studies, maybe it's to do with maybe even to do with relationships. I don't know what this is. Obviously you will know what it is, but I do feel like option A is a great option to take on if you don't mind becoming a little bit inexperienced. And if you go into it from a point of view of like, I'm a student, I'm merely a student in this situation, and I'm so excited to be taught all these new things and all these new ideas. That's where option A is the best option for you to take if you're going towards it with that attitude. So let's have a look at option B and what is the reality of option B. Wow, option B could have traveling opportunities for some of you. That could be something here. Option B is also something that you will see a lot of quick progress with. Very quick progress. You might even be surprised by how quickly things move with option B. And we've also got the King of Cups in reverse. Now, I do feel like you may feel... Okay, well, there could be a person involved with option B who is very emotionally blocked off. With option B, there could be, whether it's a boss, a partner, a friend. With option B, there could be someone involved who is emotionally blocked off, hard to read. And even though there's quick progress indicated here, this progress is mostly coming from the point of view of communication. Progress, maybe more physical progress, but not necessarily emotional progress. Option B feels like something that progresses very quickly at the start and then winds down, and all of a sudden the progress becomes slow. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad thing. It just means that the progress, most of the progress happened at the start, and it doesn't mean that it won't progress in the future again. It just means that it needs to wind down in order to progress again in the future. You would have to have a certain level of stamina for option B, from a point of view that when it's progressing quickly, it's all very exciting and all very fun. But when it starts progressing slowly, there's a need to know and believe that things will pick up again eventually. So if this is like a job, you might get into this job and things start moving quickly, and like maybe you're getting bonuses or raises or you're getting promoted very quickly, but then eventually it kind of plateaus and you may become disappointed around that. But in reality, there's a need to know that there's a reason that it's plateauing, because it needs a little bit of a slower movement. Whereas option A feels like it is somewhere where you will start out as a bit of a novice. It will be like very positive energy and excitable energy, but it needs a little bit more time where you step into this Queen of Wands energy. You kind of start out as a Page of Wands and end up in the Queen of Wands energy. You start out as a bit of a novice and you end in this more masterful energy. You grow into option A, but it's something that there's a lot of fun indicated with option A. Like, you may not even mind being a novice with option A because it's just so fun to explore option A. Whereas with option B, things might be really fun and exciting and progressing very quickly at the start, but then there's almost a blockage that comes your way, and you will have to explore that blockage rather than get scared by it. So both options are good. They have their pros and cons for sure. This is probably out of all the groups that I've done so far is the more kind of equal. Both options are good, honestly. I feel like both options have their pros. If you're someone who needs a lot of motivation at the start, if you're someone who needs a lot of reassurance and motivation at the start, and you would rather deal with a blockage down the road, option B is probably better for you. But if you're someone who doesn't mind starting out with a little bit less know-how, with a little bit less experience, but you don't mind growing into your success, option A is probably better. That's the energy that I'm picking up on. I feel like there's some sort of equal, honestly, both options have like an equal energy around them. But I almost feel like for a lot of you, I'm not saying for most of you or anything like that, but for a lot of you that are watching, and this will resonate with you now, because whatever I'll say now, you'll know if you intuitively feel connected to this statement. If you are someone who your attitude of excitement for option A may make option A the better option for you, not because it's genuinely a better option objectively, but because your excitement about option A will create like a better atmosphere for you. But for some of you, maybe you like to be pleasantly surprised, and so maybe you don't have as great of an expectation for option B, but the fact that option B will be pleasantly surprising you from the very start, option B might be the better option for you. Honestly, it depends on how you think and your perspective. It definitely feels like that. It doesn't feel like either of the options are, you know, miles away from each other. In fact, for most of you, these options have a lot of similarities, but it's almost like the way that they play out is different. It's kind of the core of these options are kind of the same. The situation, whether you go with option A or option B, it's almost like you will experience the same lessons, and you will experience the same level of excitement, and you will experience the same energy, but just in different times and different moments in time and in a different structural way. It's kind of like, it depends on what you prefer, honestly. This is definitely a more equal Both options seem to have like a similar energy. So let's look at the option A with these astrology cards. Sixth house routine. Yeah, that makes sense. With the sixth house, which is routine, it's about sticking with something, it's about discipline. I do feel like you will be required to be more disciplined with option A. And while you're building up this discipline, I think the discipline that you're going to be building up is going to be kind of exciting to build up, and you're going to be very happy with yourself, because when you practice discipline, we raise our self-esteem. And so I feel like your self-esteem is definitely, you're very right about that with the Queen of Wands. Your self-esteem and your confidence is going to be built a lot, but it's going to be built through discipline. It's not just going to come in kind of like willy-nilly. It's not just going to come in out of thin air. This discipline is what is going to grant this successful feeling of confidence, this feeling of heightened self-esteem. But I do feel like you start out on a low level and you build yourself up. From Page of Wands to the Queen of Wands. You're building yourself up from Page of Wands to the Queen of Wands. And the progress of it all is what is exciting. Looking back on where you started and where you are eventually is the exciting confidence builder here. It's the exciting energy that you're experiencing here. This is a progress-based option. It's an option of noticing how much you've grown over the period of time that it took you to get there. It's looking at how you've established your discipline over time. It's enjoying the fact that you've established certain disciplines. And we've also got Saturn, which is also about discipline. It's also about hard work. I do feel like, yes, hard work will be required with option A, but this hard work is going to be very enjoyable to look back on when you're, at the end of the finish line or whatever it is. So option A suits you if you like that kind of process. That's what I'm getting. Option B, let's look at it. Astrologically speaking, we've got Scorpio. Makes sense because Scorpio is a lot more intensive. So to me, it feels like Scorpio energy is shining through here, because when you begin or you step into option B, there will be a very intense, quick transformation immediately as you step in. Immediate progress, immediate intensity, immediate fulfillment. That is very, very strong and very, very intense. But the only thing that I'm picking up on is that a blockage will be presented to you, not to throw you off, not to make you feel upset, not to make you feel defeated, but this blockage is coming in so that you can deal with it. But this is an option that is best for those of you that like to start off on a high note and you don't mind dealing with a blockage or a difficulty or a problem or a challenge when that high note wears off, when that heightened energy wears off. And genuinely, again, as I said, I feel like I'm repeating myself like a parrot, and I do that so much in my readings, I've noticed. We've got discipline here as well, but you need to have a certain level of discipline. Should I take this card as well? Yeah, okay. So one thing I will say about this option B, we've got the sixth house here twice. You will need discipline for both of these, but in different ways. Discipline at the very start. When you pick option A, it's like immediately you will need to step into this disciplined energy. But with option B, discipline comes, it's kind of, you get your reward first, and you almost get, it's like you get paid up front or something. Like there's that energy of like, here's all the money, but you will have to discipline yourself eventually. Here's all the progress, here's all the goodness, here's all the goals and ambitions straight away being kind of paid off to you. But please be aware that discipline will be required after you've received all these rewards to show the universe how you deal. Do you become complacent with your discipline once you've gotten a lot of rewards and a lot of progress? Or do you go, okay, well, I enjoyed the rewards, I enjoyed the progress, now it's time for me to apply myself and get my head down and figure out some challenges and figure out the blockages that are presenting themselves. So again, I really want to highlight these options are almost identical in some sort of energetic way. There's almost an identical energy around what you're going to get out of these options. It depends on how you prefer to operate. Do you prefer to start out slow and build yourself up to your success, to your to your rewards? Do you prefer to do all the work first and then gain your rewards? Or do you want your reward up front so that you know you're definitely getting your reward and then you have to do the hard work after? Up to you. So I feel, again, very equal energy. I'm going to leave you here, group number 3, with your reading. If you feel like you want to share some feedback around this, I'm especially fascinated by this group because they're so similar. There's something so similar here. But yeah, let me know what you thought of the reading if you feel like it. And if you'd like to see more readings by me that are, you know, not drawing readings, but more kind of like traditional tarot readings, traditional pick of cards, you can check out my Patreon. The link is in the description box if you want to check that out. I put out more traditional kind of tarot readings on there, and I'm going to be changing my content slightly on here, although I won't be completely eliminating the tarot readings on here, but I am moving towards different types of content slowly but surely. So, you know, if you're interested in seeing more traditional, please check that out. But I'm going to move on. So we're moving on to the citrine group. So your decision-making citrine group, let's get into it. Let's see what is going on with your options. So it's between 2 options. We're going to look at option A and option B and see what first of all, we're going to look at your attitude towards both of these options. So let's look at your attitude towards option A to begin with. So please decide what option A is going to be. So your attitude to option A is quite good. I feel it's quite neutral in some ways, but also you feel like if you pick option A, you will have to multitask a lot. You feel like you would have to balance things. You would need to be quite organized. There is this feeling of like being organized and being connected to you feel like you could be busy with option A, but it's an enjoyable kind of busyness. It's an enjoyable multitasking. Maybe you're someone who, in fact, loves to multitask. Maybe you really enjoy multitasking. Because I am getting mostly positive. You feel like option A would have good rewards, but you do feel like in order for it to have good rewards, you would have to feel very balanced in your energy. You can't be out of balance. You can't be distracted. You have to be focused, but not focused in a way that is stressful, focused in a very relaxed way where it's kind of like, you know, again, in this card, he is juggling these 2 pentacles. So there is this feeling of like, I will have to juggle things, but I will have to enjoy juggling things with option A. Like I will have to be in a rested, relaxed, balanced state of mind in order to enjoy juggling option A maybe with other aspects of my life. So I think you see option A in a positive light, but you're also aware that you will need to be organized, disciplined, and balanced in order to take on option A. Now let's look at option B. So option B is the Hanged Man. So you feel like option B is also not a bad option. You also feel like option B will maybe not be as demanding as option A. Like there's a feeling of, I could probably rest whenever I want with option B. I could probably take time off whenever I want with option B. Or maybe not whenever you want, but there's a feeling of like, I could step back a lot more from option B. I could have a lot more time to myself with option B. Option B would allow me a lot of space to think, a lot of space to figure things out, whatever it is that I want to figure out. You also feel like option B might be an option where you could get bored sometimes. So maybe it's a kind of option where you're saying to yourself, yes, I could be restful, you know, I could have a lot of space to think and to muse and to think about things, but is it going to be a bit boring from time to time? Whereas it feels like with option A, it's like I will be busy and I will be juggling a lot, but I will not be bored. I don't think I can be bored with option A. Option A will always be fun and exciting and challenging in some sort of way, but in a pleasant, enjoyable way. So you do have positive feelings towards both options, though, I feel, group 4. So, which is nice to see. I feel like and positive in a quite a neutral way. Like you're not overly, you're not you're not betting all your life savings on either option, if that makes sense. That's the way that I'm picking up on it. So let me shuffle again. I feel like that's too many cards and I want to shuffle. So option A, let's see, what is the reality of option A? Okay, we've got the Sun card in reverse and we've got the Devil card. Now, yeah, I am seeing that you have to be careful not to get into an ego trap with option A. So option A, you will have to be careful not to be ruled by your fears, first of all, and not to be ruled by your ego with option A, because option A, while it is a good option, and I think it is an option that could serve you very well, there is something that the ego is very tempted by option A. The ego especially feels like option A will soothe it. But the thing about the ego is that it's always looking to be soothed. You know, it's always looking for some sort of confirmation. And so there could be an addictive quality to option A. So for some of you, especially if this is a work-related matter, there may be a bit of a risk of being a workaholic in this situation because you're always striving for more and more and more and more and more. So just be careful around that. For some of you, it could be like being trapped in a certain situation where you think you need to always be more ambitious, or you need to be doing better, or, you know, where you are really judging yourself very harshly. So while option A itself is not bad, your attitude to option A is really important. There will be a need to know when to rest. So again, it kind of does feel like, yes, it will be a busy option. It will be an option where you will have to do a lot of work. Maybe a lot will be required of you, but I do feel like you have the ability to say no to certain tasks, to certain, you know, you can set boundaries. That's what I'm getting with option A. Like, option A in itself is not a bad option, but something about option A is so tempting. It might be even tempting to not set any boundaries. It might be tempting to not do anything about it, to not connect to your sense of, no, enough is enough. So as long as you're able to manage your boundaries, as long as you're able to say to yourself, okay, I think I need rest now, or okay, I need to take some time away from this option now. Okay, I need to take some time to think about this rather than be on this like autopilot where you're just doing work, or you're constantly with, for example, if this is a person, like you're constantly with the person without taking time away from the person to figure out what you actually want. That can become a trap very quickly. And so I'm not saying that this is a bad option, because I'm not seeing that. What I'm seeing is that if you don't set appropriate boundaries, if you don't set appropriate boundaries, not only with other people, but with yourself and your ego, you are risking being entrapped in some sort of toxic cycle. So while the option itself is not bad, if you're not able to manage this option, because I do feel like this option has very potent energy, if you're not ready to manage something like that, you need to be very honest with yourself. So that's what I'm getting with option A. So let's look at option B. What is coming up with option B? 7 of Cups and 6 of Swords in reverse. Option B is standing out as an option where it's like there's more options within this option. That's what's interesting here. So if you were to pick option B, you're not done making choices. You're not done making decisions. There's going to be more littler choices, smaller choices within this one big choice to make. You're not done. So while, yes, you will have space and time to make more choices, make more decisions, you're not done making decisions. You will be required to choose between more options. You will be required to make more decisions. Yes, I chose option B, but within option B, I need to choose more, like sub choices, subcategories that are coming up. And that might, I'm kind of getting like decision fatigue. You could get a little bit of a decision fatigue within option B, but it's not it's not something that's devastating or the end of the world. And the main thing is that you make these decisions. You have to make these decisions. You have to be strong in making these decisions. So option B does seem like there's less of a entrapment kind of energy. It does feel like you could be very imaginative, or very kind of like, you could dream big, or you could explore options in a very exciting way. But if you don't make these decisions, once you pick choice B, if you don't continue making decisions, you may as well not choose B at all, because I don't know. I wish I could know what this is pertaining to, but like, let me think. Let's say you pick option B, and option B, let's say it's like a career. Let's say you are deciding between two career paths. And again, apply this to whatever you are actually asking about, but this is like the easiest example that's coming to my mind. Let's say career A is a great career. It's somewhere where you will definitely be very interested. It's something that you're going to be interested in. It's something that will have good payoffs, probably has like good money, good benefits. You will be able to be very ambitious with career A, but it's a career where maybe your ego could get obsessive. Maybe where you can run a risk of becoming a workaholic if you don't monitor yourself. It's a career where maybe you feel like it's never enough. No matter what you achieve, it's never enough if you're not careful, if you're not monitoring yourself. But if you are monitoring yourself, you will be able to avoid that kind of obsessiveness. The devil energy does indicate obsessiveness over something, and when we have the Two of Pentacles here, it's kind of like juggling things obsessively without really thinking, am I doing this with intention, or am I just doing it on autopilot, where I'm just like chasing something like a hamster in a hamster wheel. So let's say that's the kind of career that is presented to you here. It will really be very exciting for your ego. Your ego may feel very fulfilled within this career, but if the ego is unchecked, or if boundaries are not set with yourself, with your ego, with other people, you run the risk of becoming obsessive. Now, with option B, let's say career B is a career where you will get plenty of time to rest. You will get, it's a lot less demanding in terms of constant ambition and constantly striving for something new. It could be a career that could go many different directions. It's almost so vast that sometimes it's very hard to decide where you want to move to. But the thing is, you have to decide. You have to decide. With this career, many little different niche careers can come out of this one career, and you must move into that niche. You must find your niche, and every time you make a decision, you are presented with more decision. But it's not forever. It's not like a loop of decision making. But when you pick career B, you will need to make a decision between maybe like 6 or 7 or 8 choices. You will have to make that decision, and you will have to move towards it. If you don't move towards it, you will feel stuck. You will feel stuck, you will feel uninspired, you will feel bored. You know, the way we were saying like, oh, what if I get bored with it? That is the energy of option B. So again, neither option is good or bad per se, but if you need to have certain rules for yourself in place. Like, that's the feeling that I'm getting with this group. It's like both options have the opportunity to really fulfill you and for you to really enjoy these options, but you need to have almost like boundaries and rules with yourself. So if I pick option A, I have to have a rule that I have very strong boundaries with myself and other people around me. I have to make sure that my ego is always kind of under control. I'm always checking my ego with option A, and that if I ever catch myself being addicted to something or obsessive with something when it comes to option A, that I immediately make changes and I immediately respond to that. With option B, I need to set boundaries with myself, that as soon as I choose option B, that whatever other choices present themselves within option B for me, that I do make that decision, that I do make that choice, that I don't dilly-dally around making that choice, that I don't close myself off from things that feel maybe, people might say to you with option B, like if you go, oh, I want to go with this route within option B, people might even say, do you think that's realistic? That seems really unrealistic. Not listening to that and really dreaming big when it comes to option B. I do feel like there's a need to dream big with option B, the further you go. And also not delaying movement on your choices. When you make the decision, you make a choice within option B, you act on that choice. Yes, you can take a couple of days maybe to think it over just to make sure that you're happy with the decision, but you must move forward. You must make a move. The only thing that you are kind of like risking with option B is becoming complacent. It's almost two sides of the same coin. It's like being ambitious and moving forward. With option A, you risk becoming overly ambitious and a bit too much of a workaholic, or whatever it is, if it's not to do with career, whatever it is, this obsessive need to do more and more and more and more. Whereas with option B, you can go the other way and become very complacent. And I feel like your guides are saying both of these options will need strong boundaries and a strong relationship with yourself. So neither is good or bad. Both have their strengths, but it's up to you which one you feel you can have stronger boundaries with yourself around. So, sorry, I'm going to reshuffle that because I wasn't asking the question yet. So, let's look at option A with these astrology cards. Look at that. 10th house, the world. 10th house is the house of ambition. It's the house of leadership. It's the house of, it is a house where we have a lot of our aspirations and ambitions. So avoid becoming a workaholic. Ambitionholic is coming through as well. I don't know if that resonates with some of you. Becoming an ambitionholic, almost becoming addicted to making new goals and aspirations without giving space and enjoying your existing ones. That's what option A presents to you, because your ego is saying more. We must move more. We must move forward. With Leo energy, self-confidence, loyalty, and creativity, I think that's what this option A can grant you. It can grant you a lot of self-confidence. It can grant you very creative ways of exploring. It's also a very creative option. And also we've got the Sun card here and Leo energy. And the Sun is the planet that rules Leo, and the Sun card in tarot is ruled by Leo. So there's strong Leo and Capricorn energy. I'm getting strong Leo and Capricorn energy, and both of those energies are very ambitious and like to shine and like to be seen for their achievements and their goals, which is great. It's a great thing, and you can definitely build your confidence with option A. You will be granted with opportunities to achieve your goals with option A, with an opportunity to really shine in your goals with option A, but you must have clear boundaries with yourself. Like, if I notice myself overachieving, being a workaholic, maybe becoming toxic for the sake of aspirations and goals, I need to set boundaries in place. Like, what is my point of action if I notice myself doing that? That's your option A. And option B, let's see what we have with option B. So we've got the Moon card. Moon card, it's an energy of emotion, energy of nurturing. I feel like option B can be a very nurturing option for you. It can make you feel comforted, relaxed, enjoyable feeling of emotionally being satisfied in what you're in. So, but it's slower, it's more emotionally concerned, but also the Moon card likes comfort, so there is a sense of comfort around this energy. But again, you can fall into the trap of complacency because you're seeking comfort maybe too much. Oh my god, we've got the Moon card again. Satisfy emotional needs, nurture self and others. Option B would definitely be emotionally satisfying to you, but there's a need to have a boundary around once I feel like I've been emotionally satisfied and I've gotten to enjoy the emotional relaxation of it all. When do I push myself to be more ambitious? Where do I push myself to go further? And we've got Capricorn. Ambition, realism, and methodical steps. You know what? The realism part really is standing out to me. I feel like a lot of you who picked this group maybe have some strong Capricorn placements, because Capricorn's strong in both options. But I am picking up on this need to be realistic and always make sure, because if you pick option B, you need to dream big while also being realistic. And that is a very Capricorn thing. Capricorns like to dream big. Capricorns like to shoot for the stars, but they will never shoot for the stars if they think that it's too unrealistic. They will shoot for whatever feels the most ambitious thing that feels realistic. That's what they're going to go for. And so there is this feeling with you with option B that if you pick option B, you must be grounded. You need to ground yourself and set yourself up in a very methodical practice. So maybe there's a need to establish like, every week, if I pick option B, I need to check in with myself and ground myself, meditate, maybe with the Hanged Man being here. Maybe meditating, if you're picking option B, meditating around this option B consistently may be very important. You may need a lot of meditation, a lot of grounding, a lot of time to yourself to process option B, but not complacency, not time to yourself just to kind of sit around and not think about it. Like maybe there may be a need to journal a lot about option B, because option B is a little bit more wishy-washy, where you need to have structure. You're the one who needs to provide structure for option B to work. You're the one who needs to create structure for option B to work. Whereas option A has a structure already, but you must, whatever structure is created or is in existence around option A, you must not always bow down to the structure with option A. You must know when the structure is becoming toxic with option A, and you must resist it when you know that it's not something that resonates with you or something that doesn't serve you. So both options are good, but you need to figure out what kind of boundaries you would prefer to set. And that is the option that will be better for you. So that's what I have for you, option group number 4. I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you liked it, do like, subscribe, and especially if you want to share some feedback in the comments, I'd love to hear it. It's always very interesting for me to see, how these things play out for you. Also, if you are interested in more kind of traditional tarot card readings by me, check out my Patreon, where I tend to put out more of these tarot readings as my content. I'm expecting my content to change on my YouTube channel to more towards the drawing, more towards the creative exploration with tarot and divination. Now, I will still have some tarot readings on offer, especially these decision-making ones. I really enjoy doing them, but you will see my content change slightly over the next few months. And so if you're more interested in the traditional kind of tarot readings, make sure to check out my Patreon. The description box will have the link. But yeah, I'm going to leave it here. I hope you enjoyed this reading, and I'll talk to you very soon. Bye.